Hey, welcome to Intern Connect, the podcast where we prove the best place to launch your career might be closer than you think. I'm your host, Karen George, the program manager for Hello West Michigan. Whether you're halfway through your first internship, still figuring out what to do with your life, or just trying to find a coffee shop that isn't a 45-minute drive away, this podcast is for you. West Michigan is having a moment. From the lakeshore to downtown Grand Rapids, companies here are doing big things, and they want you to be a part of it. Each episode, we'll sit down with former interns who turned their summers into careers, local coordinators who know what it takes to stand out, and HR leaders who are actively looking for the next generation of West Michigan talent. Now let's get connected. Here today with Kelsey Orchard, the Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Fifth Wheel Freight. Hi, Kelsey. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
Can you start off by telling us a little bit about your role at Fifth Wheel Freight and tell us about the organization as a whole?
Yeah, for sure. So Fifth Wheel Freight, we're a third-party logistics provider based out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. What that means, if you're not familiar with what a 3PL is, we are essentially a middleman between companies who ship a product from point A to point B and trucking companies or individual truckers who are willing to move that product at a particular price. So the commodity that we sell is service, essentially. So in my role, I oversee all of internal and external marketing, as well as all of our recruiting function. We kind of see recruiting as like a candidate-facing marketing function. So I have a small but mighty team under me, and we're an organization of about 200 folks, all based in West Michigan.
That's fantastic. And tell me a little bit about your career journey from where you started to where you are now, and what have been the biggest lessons and takeaways?
Yeah, for sure. So I graduated from Grand Valley State University about 10 years ago now, which is a little wild to say. And I started out actually working in higher education, worked for Northwestern University. Loved my role, loved the people there, but I think I quickly learned that I liked a fast-paced role better than what I was doing there. So I moved back to West Michigan and started working in financial services. Definitely was more my speed. And learned a lot there. The marketing department where I worked was structured very similar to like an ad agency. So I got almost like ad agency-esque experience and really just learned a lot about like marketing as a whole and all the different facets that go into marketing for a large financial institution. And then from there, I eventually ended up in logistics and have been in this industry for about the past 5 years. I think the biggest lessons and takeaways is something that I talk about a lot, like when I go do classroom presentations and things at local universities, is just the importance of really buckling down and grinding early on in your career, because that's the time when you can like really prove yourself and really sort of earn your stripes, if you will. So I think, yeah, that's something that I learned very quickly from a boss of mine at one of my first jobs. She was a great example, just sort of a lead by example type of person, didn't really have to say anything to me. It just became very clear that she was building a successful career by just being the hardest working person in the room. And it was very impressive and admirable. And so that's something that I worked towards and something that I try to, if someone asks for advice post-graduation, I'm like, grind now, prove yourself now. You will build the career you want if you do that early instead of sort of waiting for the opportunities to come to you.
Absolutely. You mentioned that you started at GVSU and then you worked at Northwestern. Why did you choose to then build your career in West Michigan?
Yeah. I obviously, went to Grand Valley. I grew up in Southwest Michigan, so I love Michigan, generally speaking. I kind of always thought I'd like maybe land in a Chicago or something. I think a lot of people, when they leave, they have big aspirations of where you want to live or where you want to work. So I loved that I got an opportunity to live in or near Chicago for a short stint. Kind of got a feel for it, but I personally just love that West Michigan, or I guess Grand Rapids more specifically, feels to me like a mini Chicago without as much of the hustle and bustle or traffic or prices of Chicago. But you still get that feel of a big city, but then you can also like quickly get to a lake or a more rural area. And I just, like many people, 10, 15, even 5 years ago, saw the potential of Grand Rapids and West Michigan as such a growing community. There's so many like wonderful businesses based here, just tons of opportunity. And I think everybody who lives here knows and loves that about this area.
100%. I like what you said about, there's the big city feel, but then a lot of the benefits of, living in a smaller area
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. You get small town and big city at the same time.
The best of both worlds for sure. So as a marketing professional, what advice would you give to interns about building their personal brand or marketing themselves?
That's such a good question. And there's no perfect answer, obviously. Everybody, I think the most important thing is do what feels like you. Don't do what, AI told you to do necessarily. Don't do necessarily what everybody else is doing. If you're not like going into some over-the-top creative role, you don't probably need to have this over-the-top creative personal brand. Unless that feels like you, so I think really make it feel like you is the most important thing. But then like utilizing so much of the tech that's available to us now. I mean, I'm just diving into Claude more myself, and Claude Cowork and Claude Code and all these different things. And there's so much to learn. But I've seen people like coding their own portfolio website and not having any coding experience. So like all of these things are possible if you take a little bit of time to learn sort of how to do them. So I think, make it, that's not a very good answer, I guess, but make it your own, and also use the tools that you have available and do what's like appropriate for whatever role you're going into. If you're going into a graphic design role, have a really creative LinkedIn banner, have a really creative resume, have a really creative portfolio website. Like you should be displaying your design skills no matter where someone finds you. So I think that's like in some ways almost quote unquote easier in a creative role. But if you're going into a software development role, then use code to build a portfolio so you can show what you can do, so
be creative.
Be
find
creative,
ways.
But also be you.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And then we talked a little bit about, proving yourself. So can you talk about, for an intern who's just starting out, how can they demonstrate drive, and what does that look like in practice?
I think, kind of what I talked about from the beginning, like just outworking everybody in the room. Like we said, you have to advocate for yourself at some point and ask for, different things and whatnot. But you also just have to kind of be so undeniably good at your job that people can't ignore you. So, I mean, you demonstrate drive by showing drive. I know that's kind of like
absolutely
feels obvious, but also isn't obvious at the same time. So, I don't think you have to, it's more of the, walk the walk and not talk the talk.
Yes, absolutely.
Just be so obviously the most hardworking person in the room that people can't deny it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of interns who come in with the fear that they don't know everything right off the bat, but if you show the drive and that you're willing to learn, I think that proves a lot more than whatever knowledge you have coming in.
Absolutely. Yeah, the eagerness, the willingness to ask questions, and be a massive problem solver. Be willing to say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out by X date.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to give you, 3 different options for how we could do this.
And then achieve those things.
Yes,
don't just,
exactly.
You have to,
I've
follow
done
up
that
is important.
so many times. There's so much I still don't know.
Absolutely.
But I'd rather like get creative and try to figure it out than just say, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that you're working a lot with Claude. You're learning that. So can you talk about how marketing is changing very fast, obviously, with AI and new tools? So from a marketing and communications standpoint, what skills do you think are non-negotiable for someone entering those fields in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I think with AI and new tech, the non-negotiable skill is the ability to use AI well. I think a lot of our jobs won't get replaced by AI necessarily if the combination of the person with AI is better than AI alone. So, you have to be very good at utilizing the tool beyond its basic capabilities. And that just comes with practice and, watching tutorials online for how to utilize these tools, or getting ideas from people on YouTube, TikTok, whatever it might be. You can get ideas for this kind of stuff anywhere these days. I think just being someone that can use the tools well. And again, non-negotiable skill is being someone who can problem solve and who's willing to problem solve.
Absolutely. Now, Fifth Wheel Freight has a substantial internship program. Can you talk a little bit about that program and talk about how your team invests in your interns?
Yeah, so we kind of just really built out the program to what it is in the last year or so. You know, we've hired interns for many years, but not, at the scale that we have most recently. So we had our largest intern class ever. I believe it was last summer, would have been the first one, or last spring. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But of 20 interns. And that was a big jump for us and very exciting. But the whole goal is to bring in, you know, have it be kind of a win-win for interns and for us. Give them an opportunity to learn real sales skills. They're doing the exact same job that our sales reps internally are doing. So they are quite literally getting a glimpse of what it's like to be a sales rep in this industry. And then also give them a chance to sort of like decide if this is an industry they want to work in without having the permanence of a full-time job. And then, you know, if they like it and they're good at it, we want to bring them on full time. Like, there is no limit to the number of interns that we are willing to bring on full time if that's something that they're interested in. So we're very excited that we have 10 or 11, I believe, of our 20 interns from this semester starting full time with us in May.
Wow.
Which is super exciting. And then we'll have another 30 interns, a fresh group of 30 this summer. So it's something we're really, really working on building out and really prioritizing. And really trying to make sure that we compensate them well, give them real opportunities to learn real sales skills, and then provide more than just the work experience. So we just this semester for the first time did an intern professional development day where we kind of utilized some of the skill set of our leadership team and our back office team to help them with, you know, just more advanced sales skills. Cold drop-in etiquette for going to businesses and cold dropping in for sales, and then golf etiquette if you end up on the golf course with a client, or how to utilize your personal brand on LinkedIn and different things like that they haven't quite dove into at Fifth Wheel at least yet. So really just trying to provide them as much as we possibly can in terms of support, in terms of growth, education, whatever it might be, because we do think there's a ton of value in this internship program, and we've been getting, frankly, you know, some of our best team members from it. So
that's fantastic, and I love that you're investing through that professional development because it's so important. You talked a little bit about how you're developing their, you know, giving them opportunities to network, like learning how to do it on the golf course, learning how to do it on LinkedIn. We hear from a lot of interns that they are struggling with that, struggling with knowing how to network. So can you share some of your personal networking tips, any suggestions for people just starting out?
Yeah. It's a tough space. I've never liked networking, to be completely honest with you. I don't want to say I like it quite yet. We'll see here.
I like the honesty. I appreciate that.
I think it's really just doing it over and over and over. It always feels very intimidating. The amount of times that I have signed up for some sort of like, you know, happy hour with local folks that are in my industry, or a coffee chat with local folks, and it's an hour before the event, and I'm like, I could just say I'm sick and cancel. I really don't want to go. And then I go, and it ends up being some of the best conversations. And I remind myself that they're just people working and trying to learn more like me too. It's very hard not to have like imposter syndrome, you know, even 10 years into your career, showing up to these networking events and feeling like, well, I'm probably not the most qualified person in the room to talk about this space, you know, whatever it might be. But it doesn't matter. Like, people want to talk to people. They want to get to know people. And it only benefits you, I believe, so significantly in your career, to network, especially in your local community. I mean, it's such a hard job market out there right now, and your connections are everything in terms of getting a job. So, just find every opportunity available and go do it, even if it feels a little bit cringy.
Absolutely. And I love what you said about, you know, there's days where you don't want to go. And I think that that's really relatable.
Yes.
And I think that's something that's starting to, we talk about this like loneliness epidemic that's happening right now. And I think that that's something that, you know, we all want to be a part of a village, or all want to be part of a community, but we have to be a community member. And I think that shows up in networking. We see networking as this really, scary thing. It's a very intimidating thing. And I think sometimes people think it's a very fake thing of like just going to, you know, events and, you know, giving your elevator pitch. And it can feel like that, but I think the reality is that there's a lot of humanity behind it. Everyone that everyone you're meeting at that networking event is a person. Yes. And they have flaws, and they have insecurities, and they have, you know, things that they are worried about. They're probably also, you know, have at some point suffered from imposter syndrome. So just remembering that and seeking the community in it, it can maybe change the perspective and make it a little bit easier. Because we all have the days where we're like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to meet people. Yes. But just pushing yourself past that is important for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and then final question. I've been asking everybody this. What are your West Michigan favorites? So your favorite restaurant, maybe your favorite coffee shop, any other hidden gems that you would recommend?
Oh my gosh. I didn't have time to prepare.
I know.
Karen.
I didn't let you know about this one.
I'm probably going to think of like 12 after I leave
I'm
here.
sure. It's okay.
I mean, Jin's is at the top of the list,
Oh,
which I'm
Gin
sure
Jin's good.
everybody said. But I mean, it really is like the, not to sound cheesy, but the hottest new restaurant in town.
It is good.
It's so delicious. I'm trying to think. I really love the Scholar too, in terms of just like restaurants. Oh gosh, coffee shops. I love the Stray. Shout out the Stray. I think we like have a good mix of coffee shops that have like great coffee, but not always a great ambiance or like workspace. And then some who have a great ambiance and not awesome coffee. The Stray has both, and I love that. And the Lantern coffee shop.
Ooh, I love Lantern.
Love,
Yes.
love.
That's so
Great
good.
little snacks too.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And has really great vibes and great place to work. Yeah. I feel like that one's the one where if I was in college chill, that's where I would camp out
100%.
for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd say those are my favorites.
Those are great. And I think it's fun with this because it seems like everybody's had different answers. And because
Really?
there's so much
Good.
variety. There's so much stuff to do.
I
Like
love
you really
that,
have to make an effort to try all of them. So it's been cool to hear everybody's responses because they've all been pretty different.
Yeah. I swear there's a new restaurant every week.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kelsey. It's been great
course.
chatting with you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Intern Connect. The Intern Connect social series is keeping the momentum going all summer long. Next up is an evening at Millennium Park on July 15th. Head to hellowestmichigan.com to register and get all the details. We'll see you there.